Welcome, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the Hasbara, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Be kind to the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hey, implied connotations. Welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And if you don't get the implied connotation reference, check out today's VOD from the Hyperpolyglotting with Elise stream towards the end. It was funny. So how's everybody doing, chat? As we round out another week. So, there are a couple of things I wanted to look at today. For one thing, there was something that I was going to do last week related to the bad empanada just doing straight up Nazi shit, and a lot of people really showing their asses around that thing. But I wanted to make sure that I had my facts straight before I did it, so I wanted to just look and make extra certain about that. So I've done that, and so I think we're going to do that. Got some liberal slop to look at, and, oh, what do you know? Ben Shapiro says, woke political ads just ruined the NBA Finals. And I think that's what we're going to start out with on this very hot Friday.
You know, what's really cool? We actually have a word for the gestating parent in the English language.
Yes, a pregnant person.
It's called mother. I know, crazy.
Oh, wow. So he's just... At this point, is Anatransphobian doing him, or is he doing Anatransphobian?
And we actually have a word for the non-gestating parent. It's called the father.
Well, except for those situations where that isn't the case. Wow, I mean, this is... Wait, I gotta look at this. Is this... This is recent, right? I'm not looking at some bullshit from... This is from yesterday. What, they're just bringing this not... He's just redoing it. They must have had to lay off their... They must have had to lay off their writers over at the Daily Wire, which is totally not in a meltdown.
Speaking of threats significantly closer to home, at least at this moment, New York, Zoran Mamdani, Brad...
Wait. Is he saying that there are no trans people in New York? Because I don't think that's the case.
Lander, the pick by Zoran Mamdani for DSA in Congress, President Chevalier and Valdez, all of these people are far lefties.
Wow, far lefties. Which, let's remember, according to Ben Shapiro, just means that they more or less are on the same place in the political spectrum as like Dwight David Eisenhower.
An ad in an NBA Finals game last night, game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Oh, wow, a far lefty ad in the NBA Finals. So, what, like, did they do an ad advertising how good it is to seize the means of production? I want to see the communism ad from the NBA Finals. I would have watched if I'd known that there was going to be a communism ad in the NBA Finals chat. I actually would have watched the NBA Finals.
This is where we are right now, and this is why New York must lose. I know. I have a lot of fans and friends who are Knicks fans.
No, wait, I mean, the wild thing about this is, actually, the Knicks are owned by a transphobic asshole who specifically had a trans woman, a basketball fan, under surveillance, really, really tight surveillance, just to make sure that she would never show up on camera during a match. Like, the owner of the Knicks is actually, it seems, more or less on side with this dickhead.
But for the good of the United States, New York must lose, because otherwise you're gonna have these people celebrating. Here's the ad.
New York, we know anything's possible with a great team.
I'm Brad Lander, and I'm Black Billionaire.
Oh wow, he's totally, well, that totally far lefty right there.
Buying our elections.
I'm Maria Elisa Avila Chevalier, and I'll defend New York by abolishing ICE.
Okay, how is she... well, I mean, I'm all for abolishing ICE, but the last time that somebody in the Northeast decided to run in a primary for the Democrats, or I'm not familiar with this candidate, so maybe this is the general already, but the last time that was a slogan for an election, the minute AOC actually won the primary, she explained that all she wanted to do was rename ICE. So I'm a little bit skeptical, but let's remember the position of just getting rid of ICE is the mainstream position in the United States right now.
Israel
I'm
doesn't
Claire
exist in
Valdez,
Israel.
and I'll stand up against bad landlords and greedy corporations.
Wait, who said Israel doesn't exist? I missed that one.
Get out and vote. This is the team.
Wait, where's the... I was promised a far lefty ad.
This is our year.
I'm Brad Lander.
I'm Claire Valdez. I'm Maria Elisa Avila Chevalier, and
Wait, okay.
we approve this message.
Oh, so they put a political ad in the middle of the Knicks game because it's so New York. If you're in favor of socialism, so for the sake of America, the Knicks must lose. Also, I gotta say, I don't know what Mitch Johnson, the coach of the Spurs, what were you doing last night?
That's so weird that this is when I started to hear just references to Mitch Johnson just in the past few weeks, that confused the hell out of me, because for quite a long time, I don't know if he still plays for them, there was an Australian bowler on the Australian national cricket team called Mitchell Johnson, who is perhaps most memorable because anytime he plays against England, in the stands you will hear the song, "He bowls to the left, he bowls to the right. Oh, Mitchell Johnson, your bowling is shite." But apparently a different guy.
Miller, what were you doing? I have to say, my son was very upset. So my son is a huge Wemby fan. And Wemby has got to attack the paint. What's going on? Why is he shooting 9 3-pointers? He is 7'5". He needs to attack the paint.
Oh, well, it's Woke's fault, actually, I'm
Guys,
sure.
Run a pick and roll, for goodness sake. Come on. You're going to run ice over Wemby in the last 4 minutes of the game, 26 feet from the basket, facing up against Karl Anthony Towns. How's that going to work out for you? That's stupid. He's got to move without the ball. It's not Gilgeous Alexander or something. What are you doing? Why in the world is Harper out of the game? What's happening?
Yeah. Okay, is this what this is all going to be now? Bonsoir.
Past the 3-point line, guarding Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Okay, we may not be watching Ben Shapiro for much longer, because apparently that was it.
Has to play a better game. Yeah, I was disappointed by the Spurs roster. Champagne had a great first half, but he...
Okay. I wanted to hear more about woke political ads. There's only been one political ad, and it wasn't that woke.
And asked about President Trump being a fascist because... What the baby? Or visit preborn.com/Ben. That's preborn.com/Ben.
Wait. Is it... I don't even want to know.
Meanwhile, apparently sports are fascist. This is what I'm now hearing. So CNN had on Dana White, who is the head of the UFC, and asked about President Trump being a fascist.
Head of what?
Dana White, who is the head of the UFC, and asked about President Trump being a fascist because America 250 will feature an MMA fight on the lawn of the White House.
Wait, is the idea that that makes him fascist? Or is the idea that being fascist, he's going to have a fucking MMA fight? I don't even... that we're already in non sequitur territory. Like, what... Like, that is... Am I supposed to understand this, that this person was on the fence about whether he was a fascist, then then she heard about the an MMA fight on the White House lawn, and decided that might clinch it? What the fuck is this?
You see, sports has in times been used by authoritarian governments like Mussolini to show...
Well, I mean, what Mussolini did with it is he had himself photographed with all sorts of top athletes to imply he was good at their sports when he wasn't.
Power, to show strength, to show control. Do you worry about the confluence of this sport in particular and the Trump administration sort of being intertwined?
I don't think like that.
Like, people might say, look, Trump's using the same playbook as a Mussolini or a Putin, right?
Well, it's if the playbook is just being associated with top athletes, it's kind of politicians in general, though. Like, lots of politicians, many of them not fascists, will do some sort of thing where they try to associate themselves with top athletes. I would say, actually, so what's more fascist is the way that you cannot go to a major sports ball game in the U.S. without some kind of military shit going on. There's an Air Force flyover, or there's some other military thing associated with it. It's like, could we just, like, watch a fucking game? I don't even watch most of those sports, but just, like, that strikes me as considerably more worrisome, and that's been going on for a long time.
To judo, right? And he uses this as a way to show he's the strong man. He's the man. Do you see Trump using that same playbook or no?
In politics, that's the way it's always worked. It's not just Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who this guy is, actually, but I tend to agree. I mean, yes, a lot of fascists have done this, and they do it in a very specific way. Like, like what Putin was doing there is he was kicking the ass of a top judoka. And Mussolini was having these pictures taken to suggest that he was like a top fencer and he could beat anyone in the sport. He had another one where it was him playing with the Italian chess champion. The implication again being that he could kick the ass of the top Italian chess player, and actually he'd never played chess. Like that, there is a very specific style of it. So if Trump gets out in the ring, I mean, first of all, if the ring is going to be there, could he please challenge one of these MMA fighters to a fight? A lot of problems could be solved very quickly. That would be more in that vein, but like connecting sports and the state and the military, that's kind of that is rather old hat. It's often very troublesome, but it isn't a novelty here.
It's been like that since the beginning of time, and it will be till the end of time. It's not just one guy or
yeah, I mean, bread and circuses in ancient Rome too. Panem et circenses.
On administration, it's everybody, and yes, sports has been used, politically, forever.
Man, that's some serious journalism right there.
Well, Not as serious as the journalisming that they do over at the Daily Wire. Home alma mater to such amazing journalistic luminaries as Candace Owens.
By the way, Teddy Roosevelt literally erected a boxing ring at the White House and would box people there.
Well, yeah, actually, funny that you mention this, because that's what I was just saying. That's kind of the difference. And yeah, Teddy Roosevelt, a very proto-fascist character, actually. You know, a big white supremacist, you know, genocidal racist. His most famous quote is about how he just started a war and let Congress debate. You know, just completely jumping over the constitutional distribution of war powers to conquer a bunch of countries that Spain was unable to hold on to. Yeah, I mean, good point. Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt did, and Teddy Roosevelt, problematic as fuck.
Because he liked boxing so much. Just like Mussolini. Abraham Lincoln, believe it or not, was famous in his hometown in Illinois for wrestling people. Apparently, he was a really, really good wrestler.
Oh, well, wait, but that was before he became president. Did he have a fucking ring out in front of the White House where he would go and just, like, challenge all comers? Because then that's the same thing. But if it was just he was known for... Because he was also very big and tall. Apparently, I remember from a book report I had to write when I was like 8 that he was like nicknamed Beanpole when he was in school. So yeah, he probably was pretty good at that sort of thing. But my understanding is he did that before becoming president.
Also, he was gigantic for the time, 6'4". So, but that man, our media, could they be dumber? I mean, probably.
I mean, they could be more like the Daily Wire. So
but
there's
back to
that.
For a second, okay, so. You have Mamdani running this ad for all of his Democratic Socialist friends. And as we discussed yesterday...
Brad Lander isn't even DSA. I don't know about those other two, but Brad Lander is just a fucking mainstream-ass Democrat.
Radicals in the Democratic Party have the upper hand. How crazy are these...
He's not a radical.
According to the New York Post.
He's a fucking Zionist, actually.
Democrats are trying to rewrite New York law so as to replace terms. Mother, the term mother... would be replaced with gestating parent.
Well, yes, to take account of the fact that not every gestating parent is, in fact, a mother.
Father would become non-gestating parent.
For the same reason.
Or parent in family court, along with in domestic and education law under the legislation, which was passed by state Democrats. They wrote the law. It needs Hochul sign-off. It's already passed. So, mother is now the gestating parent. You know what's really cool? We actually have a word for the gestating parent in the English language.
Like, this is just... This is just anatransphobia and birthing people again. Except this is worse because... Like, this was already played out like 4 years ago now. He's just doing callbacks.
It's called mother. I know, crazy. And we actually have a word that is shorter than 2 words for the non-gestating parent. Is it?
What side view camera?
It doesn't even have a hyphen in it. It's called the father. In fact, you can define biological sex by who is capable of gestation.
No, you really can't. In fact, that's why biological sex is a nonsense term.
And who is not. Crazy town. Paternity proceedings to determine a child's biological father would meanwhile become parentage cases.
Which is reasonable. Because you're determining the child's parentage. That is not a new word, Ben. That's been around for a long time, actually.
Under the bill. Which is...
Oh, he got his autofocus working.
Weird a little bit, because what are we... Are we afraid... Like, can you file a paternity case against, like, your lesbian partner?
No, but you could potentially file a parentage case against a trans woman who was your mother and also was your non-gestating parent. That's kind of the point.
I feel
that's a thing that I think they got from TV news channels. Love to do that. They have a special camera that they use when somebody's going to get up close and personal. I remember for a while, Stephen Colbert, when he's doing Colbert Report, used to do jokes involving that particular camera. I mean, that's where he gets it from anyway. So the idea is and it's just supposed to sort of improve, make things more interesting visually, so it isn't just all one shot. But I mean, there's only so much. You can only get so interesting when this is what you're looking at, though.
That'd be weird. I'm not sure why you need that.
Because trans people exist. Hope this helps.
A putative father, also known as a putative father, is a deadbeat dad.
No. A putative father. I'm sure they've changed that term, and reasonably so, since it may not necessarily be a father. Usually the term deadbeat dad refers to somebody who is out of the picture knowingly and is knowingly defaulting on, child support obligations or something like that. But that isn't necessarily always going to be the case. So no, it isn't always going to be.
It would be called an alleged parent.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you had to change putative. You could say putative parent, that would be just fine. Although, really, although, thinking about it, usually putative refers to the person themselves making the claim. If you say, usually putative means the person who would benefit from it being true says it's true. Whereas, so alleged actually probably is not bad, but yeah. So this is what they're doing. They're just doing fucking callbacks. Okay, and one thing I discovered, actually, I decided to watch the FD Signifier recap of this thing with Clan Empanada, Bad Empanada, and I realized I had thought when I started to look at that on stream that he had not actually showed any of the actual discussion. And it turned out he actually did. So we're going to go back there and check that, and we're going to check that out. Because, as I said, there were some certain things I wanted to be absolutely certain of my facts before I said anything. And now I am. See, this is something Clan Empanada...
That's your opinion, man. I'm just giving you my...
Because the thing is that... one thing that I found out, apparently... from watching that video, so apparently the understanding between Noah Samson and FD Signifier was that Bad Empanada was not coming on. That this was just going to be the two of them. And then apparently fucking Jeff the Bad Empanada decided to throw a fucking hissy in the chat demanding to be let on so that he could be racist. And eventually he was. And considering what this stream was for, this is the fundraising stream to fund Noah Samson's legal defense against a bullshit case being brought by Zionist shitlord Ethan Klein. And the last thing that really he needed was to have somebody on his fundraising stream just bringing up just straight up neo-Nazi anti-Semitic propaganda. And of course, that's exactly what fucking fucking Bad Empanada did. So we're gonna just have a look. So just to remind everyone, this is where we started. Bad Empanada called through a neo-Nazi racial slur at Black Red Guard.
Being dishonest, and I clocked this immediately. I'm realizing he just thought I was dumb. That role, basically.
Oh, okay. I need to skip back. That isn't as far as I thought I was. Okay, I'm just trying to get back to where that part actually begins. I'll just... Okay, here we go.
Fucking life. That this is also exactly what Bad Empanada did to Noah maybe last year to his chat. I'm gonna watch this in full.
Jeff is on the line.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, and immediately we're going to get into the stuff that where I had to just look up a few things to make sure that I was going to get this exactly right. So here we go.
I want you to peep Bad Empanada's posture and his energy.
Yeah, like, he's so fucking confident, and he has absolutely no reason to, except that he quite rightly assumes that FT Signifier and Noah Samson both don't actually know quite enough about at least some of what he's saying to realize how comprehensibly full of shit he is. And the thing is, the charitable assumption is that Bad Empanada just simply does not know what the fuck he's talking about. He heard some bullshit someplace and just took it as read. But the thing is, I've watched enough of Bad Empanada back when he was doing some really good, like, serious leftist video essays on Latin America and shit that were really excellent, and why he has been such a disappointment, I have to say. And I know the man knows how to do research. He knows how to analyze a source. And I do not buy for a second that he does not know what he's fucking doing here. That he...
You love to.
Okay, I assume I need to turn the volume up there, because that is very quiet even for me.
Look how energetic he is. Ready, right? I want you to peep how energetic and confident and ready he is for this conversation. He is so excited.
It's my failure on not staying on cold myself.
Zionist Nazis. I don't even know how that came up, but that's why I'm here.
Wait, so say that one more time, sorry.
He decided to call me a Nazi for being too anti-Zionist in his case.
No, he actually didn't do either of those things. And yeah, actually, Jeff the Empanada isn't being very anti-Zionist at this point. In fact, he's endorsing central tenets of Zionist ideology quite regularly. That's not anti-Zionist. What he's doing isn't anti-Zionist. He's just, like, parroting white supremacist bullshit.
I never said that. Never have said that. Never have called him a Nazi. White supremacists. White supremacists. I pointed out that he unironically uses neo-Nazi terms, but I'm not going to call him a Nazi. I don't think that counts. I don't think that works. He does live in Argentina. There's a lot of comparisons I can make. So we start out with a lot.
And let's just note, the cost of living in Argentina has absolutely skyrocketed in the past couple of years under Milei, to the extent that on certain basic staple foods, Argentina charges more for them than you pay more for them in Argentina than, like, literally anywhere else. I actually did the sums at one point, because it's like pasta. Regular ass, like, domestic pasta, 500 grams, was going for the equivalent of $6. Yeah, in Argentina. That's a lot if you are on Western European incomes or US incomes. In Argentina, that is fucking eye-watering. And I bring this up because this motherfucker seems to be doing okay there, and apparently he does not pay any tax in Argentina. Or at the very least, he pays most of his tax in Australia.
And this is the thing that he's done this entire time.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I didn't.
Give me a break. Anyway, let's talk about the...
Wait, no. Did he say it? Is that something you believe?
He said, oh, he uses Nazi dog whistles for not getting...
Well, he does use Nazi dog whistles. So what he said was true, actually.
Nazi dog whistles?
The typical bullshit.
Did you use a Nazi dog whistle? Did you call BGR?
You're talking about Nazi dog whistles.
Yes, because those are the things he used.
Do you
answer the question? You're evading. Did you use a Nazi dog whistle?
Yes.
It's a line of black
men. I'm going to explain. A black man.
So you see, immediately we're evading.
Yeah, and immediately... I mean, I love how he acts all indignant. Like, why could it possibly be bad to call a black man a racial slur that invokes slavery? Like, how could that possibly be something that somebody would be criticized for? I mean, and fucking Cavernacle, I have to say, I hope that he just got the wrong end here and he realizes that he fucked up quick smart, because he did. I mean, after what he said quite rightly about, like, a leftist giving Graham Plattner a pass on all sorts of shit, including the Nazi tattoo that he lied about and that he knew everything about, and he kept on until it became a political liability, that he then said that FD Signifier objecting to being called a racial slur by Bad Empanada was tone policing, which is not what tone policing is, Cavernacle. Tone policing, actually, is when you have a go at a black man because he objected to being called a racial slur. That is tone policing. Objecting to being called a racial slur is just called, like, self-respect.
And he's evading because Bad Empanada acts like this on Twitter. He acts like this in comment sections.
Yeah,
but
I mean, his comment sections, I mean, I don't know, not so much comment sections, Twitter, I meant, is just absolutely rank at this point. It is just, he is just flirting heavily with the fash.
Doesn't do this in his content. It is a strategy for this type of debate grow creator. I'm going to go somewhere, get in front of people, and act like I don't have any sense, and trick them into engaging with me so that I can siphon and vampire off of their presence for my channel and the content. The thing that was most revealing to me is, it's not...
How dare you critique me acting like a Nazi when there's a genocide going on? I should be able to act like a Nazi, there's a genocide going on.
Yeah, and that is absolutely fucked up. I mean, I've seen people actually use that as an excuse for him as well, for Clan Empanada. And that's fucked up, because the thing is, if you're acknowledging that there's a genocide going on, that means that there are millions of lives at stake. And we, as a solidarity movement, need to take some fucking responsibility and not be on our fucking edgelord bullshit just because, look, there's something worse going on than whatever the fuck I'm doing. That's fucked up.
Why are you wasting time talking about my Nazi-adjacent behavior?
Mind you, again, he clearly understands the problem of this. This is a video he made last year critiquing one of his own former peers on them frontlining anti-Semitic and Nazi-coded sentiment in their content. But a year later, when things are drying up, when he has to get my attention, suddenly he doesn't understand that. I don't give a fuck if he's black or not. I think
have you heard of the Jewish?
You are avoiding the direct question.
I'm answering the question to you.
So I keep kind of like, so once I realized immediately. Because
okay, here we go. This is the stuff that I actually had to check to make sure I was remembering it correctly. Because he's about to say some bullshit, and I wanted to make sure that I did not accidentally add to the pile.
I'm not as bad as a debater I make myself out to be. Immediately after this moment, I say, oh, he really is just bullsh. He really is just Destiny. I wasn't sure. So when I noticed that he was unwilling to just genuinely say maybe using Nazi hate speech is weird publicly, I was like, oh, that's it. We got him. All right, let me be very knowledgeable in the comment. No, I don't study this.
Shabbat, however you pronounce it in Hebrew. No, fuck.
We got him. All right,
let me give you context. Have you heard of the Jewish sect Shabbat? Shabbat, however you pronounce it in Hebrew.
Yeah, it's Chabad, first of all, which, you know, if you're gonna talk about it, maybe find out how it's pronounced, maybe actually do the basics of due diligence, but okay.
No fucking way.
No, I'm not very knowledgeable in the comment. No.
Yeah.
I don't study this. I'm not a historian. I'm sorry. I don't study.
Yeah, here's the thing. Neither does he.
Judaism, I
Hola, Ignacio, ¿cómo estás?
don't study Hebrew. I'm not an expert on Jewish history.
And neither is he. He doesn't know shit about any of this. No sabe ni una weá.
I know about media tropes. I know about social theory. And so he tries to pull this edgelord gotcha.
You don't know about the thing that I know about?
And he doesn't know about it. That's what we're about to see.
And blown away. But anyway, this is the biggest, like, religious Jewish group in the entire world.
No, it fucking isn't. And this is, see, okay, this is why I had to make sure that I was remembering my facts correctly. Okay, here's the deal. Chabad Chabad is one sect in the Hasidic community. Now, the Hasidic community as a whole is 5% of the Jewish population. Chabad isn't even the largest sect in the Hasidic community. The largest sect turns out to be Satmar, which is mostly based in Williamsburg and Brooklyn, which is anti-Zionist. Now, what is true about Chabad is that they are extremely reactionary. They're extremely fanatically Zionist, very fucking racist. Like, you can actually see footage in Gaza of Chabad, occasionally announcing for photo ops that they have set up a Chabad house in some building that Palestinians have been forcibly displaced from or murdered in. Like, Chabad is fucked up. Chabad sucks. And the thing also to know about the Hasidic community, Chabad in particular, but the Hasidic community in general, is they're not even very well thought of by, like, the mainstream Jewish community. They're thought of kind of, people either kind of look at them sort of bemusedly as, like, weirdos. They're largely thought of sort of cultish, religious nutters. They're not very well thought of. They're not particularly respected, is what I'm saying. And the thing is, calling them cultish is kind of reasonable because of the way that their sects are organized. It is very hard to get out of them. The other thing you gotta know about Chabad and the Hasidic community is that they are the poorest religious denomination in Judaism. Like, bar none. They have a ridiculously high poverty rate for a very simple reason. Most of them haven't finished high school, or at most they've finished high school. Their educational level is very low. Their incomes are very low. Mostly they work within the community because often they do not speak good enough English to work outside of the community. They speak Yiddish. And they also have very, very large families. So the money does not, whatever money they're making on whatever jobs they're doing is not going to go very far because they got 5 or 6 fucking kids to feed with it. So those are the things you gotta know about this. Now, I find it interesting that this is where Clan Empanada goes, because Chabad wasn't really a topic of conversation at all. When I heard that brought up prominently in this sort of a context, it was fucking fake Professor Jiang Fangpi. That's not actually his name, and if you know Chinese, you'll know the joke I was just making there. It is hilarious. Po xiao. And my tones are not great. But, in any case, yeah. And he also went in a whole thing about how supposedly influential Chabad are. But, okay, so the first thing he just said here is just complete nonsense. It is not the largest Jewish religious sect. It is a minority within a tiny minority within a population who themselves are a minority and not even a big minority. Like, Chabad is very small, actually.
That's not true as well, but go ahead.
I mean, you denied it, and that's the entire reason we're talking here.
No.
Okay, the joke is that his name is not Jiang Fangpi. Fangpi literally means tirapeo, but when you say it in Chinese, often it means bullshit. Like, one way, like to say somebody is Fangpi is to say that they're bullshitting.
I think before.
And so at this point, I also realized, wait, I start to wonder, wait, does he know he's been clipping me out of context and incomplete for the last month? Does he just not even realize what he's doing?
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, I don't know what's going on in this motherfucker's head. But I will say, I know that he has more sense than he acts like he's having, because I watched his video on Xinjiang and media analysis. I watched a lot of the stuff he did on Latin America a few years ago. The man knows how to do research. He knows to look... He knows how to actually analyze a source. So I do not buy for a second that he does not know what he's doing here.
Because, like, I've already proved that
He's
this
full
is
of
not
shit.
real. Is he playing dumb? Like, what? Like, so I'm
Yeah.
like, wait. He's genuinely just not good at this. He thinks he's about to own me with facts and logic, I guess. I think Bad Empanada actually is just really racist and thought I was dumb.
I think that he's probably... I think he's probably right about that.
He just genuinely thought he was smarter than me, and then I should.
For asserting his positions, you should let him, just explain. Okay, great. So what I was saying there is...
I also want to point out how disrespectful Bad Empanada is to Noah. Noah, please.
Yeah, what Noah did there, I had to go back because he sort of clipped it in a way it was hard to tell. But so Noah says, maybe let FD Signifier finish a fucking sentence. And Bad Empanada lo ningunea por completo. Just ignores him completely and just goes on talking as if he wasn't there. This is Noah Samson's fucking fundraising stream to build up a war chest that will defend him in court against rich-ass Ethan Klein, who's trying to bankrupt him for calling out his genocidal bullshit. And this is not... I mean... Even if you believe this bullshit that Bad Empanada is saying, you gotta understand that might not be helpful in the context of somebody who's gonna have to go in court, and this shit's gonna be discovery. It might very well end up being shown in court.
Clock this. Please clock how this man is using you. How he just disrespected you there, and he does it multiple times.
Yeah.
Maybe they're
all
cool
those
like
things.
That. Maybe they're cool like that. Me and Bill and John and BP and other people, we get it in. But I don't know if we've ever talked to each other like this publicly.
Living in a time of actual, real Jewish supremacy. Jewish supremacists are committing genocide against people who aren't.
This publicly.
Oh, okay. Now here's another thing. Here's another thing that he does. He does this sort of leapfrog tactic, because he starts out using the term Jewish supremacy to refer to the racial regime in occupied Palestine, the way liberal Zionists use it. The fact that liberal Zionists use it and Nazis also use the term, in different ways, I should be clear. There is a very significant difference in the meaning and the origin. But that should already make you think maybe another term is probably better. But anyway, so it doesn't make Clan Empanada do it, because what he does is he leapfrogs. Okay, listen to this.
This time of actual, real Jewish supremacy. Jewish supremacists are committing genocide against people who aren't Jews. Now you.
Okay, so that's where we start out. First of all, we have the idea. Already, this does not entirely work, because Joe Biden isn't Jewish. Fucking Kamala Harris isn't Jewish. Actually, a lot of the people who are very much the top perpetrators of this genocide, and if and when, the term is Jewish supremacy. The closest thing to a legitimate usage it has is liberal Zionists use it to describe the apartheid regime in occupied Palestine, and they do it to avoid talking about how Zionism is fundamentally white supremacist. So already this is a bit much, because when you actually zoom out and include all the perpetrators, like Joe Biden and Donald Trump and all sorts of other people like that, what you find is actually a lot of the top level perpetrators of this genocide not only aren't Jewish, but don't even particularly like Jews. Like, Trump is anti-Semitic as fuck. He really does not like Jews. He's trying to make a fucking list of Jews.
Pretending you believe in that, oh my god. But anyway, we have this situation, right, where Jewish supremacists are doing that, and one of the most important Jewish sects in the world, along with many other Jews...
One of the most important Jewish sects in the world. Like, based on what? Based on what is Chabad one of the most important Jewish sects in the world? It's relatively well known, despite its small size. But important how?
Jewish sect.
I'm just going to summarize. This is him explaining where the word goy comes from.
Nah, and he gets that wrong too. Goy is Hebrew for nation. In fact, if you're familiar with the term Gentile, Gentile has the same origin. It comes from the Latin word gens, which means people or nation. In both cases, what it refers to is, the idea is you have Jews and you have the nations, which is everybody else. So that's the first thing. It is just Hebrew for nation. And the second thing is, in terms of its usage as a pejorative, its main history of being used that way is amongst European Jews to complain about the white Christians who kept on trying to kill them. So if we want to be serious and actually historically accurate about it, we've got to mention these things. Bad Empanada is neither serious nor historically accurate. He just wants to he wants to just parrot some Nazi bullshit. So he doesn't.
I want you to peep that. He keeps bringing it to goy. And as I've looked at his followers online, in the comment section and on Twitter, they keep bringing it to goy. But I have to point out, he said Zog slave. Goy comes from all these Jewish people, this Jewish sect he's talking about.
No, it doesn't. It absolutely does not come from them. I'm sure they use it. But it does not come from them. It is way older than them. And it literally just means nation.
Well, that's goy. Zog comes from the Turner Diaries. So we're immediately being dishonest.
Although, actually, and the thing is, where you mostly hear the term goy these days is from Nazis. There's a whole thing, there's a whole meme around it. If you look up, I'm not going to do it on stream because there's just so much explicit Nazi shit that comes up when you do this search that I feel like I might seriously get taken down. And I would, do a serious content warning because you see some nasty shit. But if you look up De Goyim No, that is a Nazi meme. It's been a Nazi meme for a while. They're the ones who really are pushing the word, who are really using that word as a political term. So all of what he's doing here is Nazi shit.
I clocked this immediately. I'm realizing he just thought I was dumb.
Their role basically is to be slaves for Jews. They are basically like cattle. Mm-hmm. So do you think in this moment there might be more utility?
He says, okay, and you've also got to look at just what he did there is he said, this is, one of the most important Jewish sects, which, based on what? They're actually, they're a tiny minority within an already small minority within the Jewish community, and they're not even very well thought of. So I don't know what important means here, and he doesn't define it. It just matters, if you say that it's a small and actually mostly poor cult-like sect that is a minority of the Hasidic community, that just makes it, then you start wondering why the fuck is he bringing this up at all, because you could bring up all sorts of, if we're gonna just bring up random shit that weird-ass tiny cults do, there's plenty of that to go around. I'm sure you could find, weird-ass Greek Orthodox cults. That's his background. That do all kinds of fucked up shit. Actually, you could just look at a lot of shit that goes on in modern Greece. And Australia. Australia does lots of fucked up shit. But, yeah. So what he does, he has to claim that they're important because otherwise why the fuck is he talking about? But then he sort of slides over and he says,
to perhaps not screaming Nazi whenever someone throws these sorts of terms back at these people who are literal Jewish supremacists.
Are you a Jew?
He's, okay, remember, he threw the term Zog slave, which is a Nazi epithet, a Nazi slur, at a black man who is not a Jewish supremacist by any stretch of the imagination.
These are people who literally think, no, I'm explaining this to you, so goy, and the way these people use it is a slur. It's a slur. They use it against Palestinians, they kill them.
I correct them.
Zog slave, goy slave, who cares?
Oh, Zog slave, goy slave. Well, I mean, on a certain level, yeah, who cares? Because this is all Nazi shit. Like, goy slave actually has a lot to do with the Great Replacement. See, because the idea that a lot of Nazis have is that black people in particular, but not exclusively, are just sort of the foot soldiers of the Judeo-Bolshevik conspiracy to destroy the purity of essence of the white race and all this shit. This is where these terms come from. I mean, if you look up these terms, if you just do a search in quotes for these terms, you're going to find Nazi shit. Because those are the waters in which these terms are floating. Now, FD Signifier kind of fucks up because he's more charitable to Clan Empanada than he deserves. He thinks that maybe goy slave actually is one of these terms.
Who gives a fuck?
And now I have him. And now it's a wrap. Zog slave, goy slave, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, and, well, yes, who cares, because it's all Nazi shit.
This is it. This is the end of the debate at this point. He says, I don't care if it's a term from Jewish supremacists.
Which it isn't. Okay, FD Signifier, I know you're not looking at this, but it isn't. It is literally a term from the Great Replacement. This is Nazi shit. Both of the terms he's using are Nazi shit. That's why he doesn't make any distinction between them. They're all stuff from white supremacism. It's all white supremacist shit all the way down.
Or from white supremacist neo-Nazis, I want to be able to use it and you shouldn't critique me. I do. I think it's weird. So first off, let's clarify. Thank you for that filibuster. Did you or did you not call BGR or BRG? I'm not familiar. Did you or did you not call him a
BRG
Zog slave on Twitter?
Absolutely, the term is fucking hilarious. Why shouldn't I?
Well, yeah, he thinks that Nazi shit is hilarious. Why shouldn't he? Well, maybe because you shouldn't do Nazi shit. Maybe Nazi shit is bad. Look at Noah there. Noah's very uncomfortable in this moment. And I would be too if I was depending on this fucking stream to raise the money that I need to defend myself in court against a millionaire asshole who's trying to bankrupt me into silence. I would be seriously uncomfortable, and I would want to kick Bad Empanada's ass. I would want to fly all the way down to Argentina just to kick his ass over this, because this is not good for him.
Nazi hate speech is hilarious. Why shouldn't I use it? Nazi hate speech is hilarious. Why shouldn't I use it? And that's when I load the gun.
Yeah, like what's hilarious about it? Motherfucker, like, mass murderers have used these terms, and recently. Like, these are terms that were used by the fucking San Diego mass shooter. Actually, they're used by a lot of mass shooters. And, like, the Oklahoma City bombing, those guys were big on talking about Zog. See, Zog is the idea that the United States is actually occupied, but not in the real way that it's occupied, where it's a settler colonial regime that was imposed on indigenous people through genocide. Not, you know, not in the actual legit way the United States is occupied. But no, these wonderful Nazi chaps who occasionally do wonderful, lovely things like blowing up buildings with hundreds of people in them and mass shootings and all sorts of things that our lives would be poorer if we didn't have to worry about. They think that, or at the very least they claim that, the United States is controlled by the elders of Zion. When they say Zionist, they do not mean anything to do with the Zionist ideology. Through lots of very arduous and uncomfortable interactions with some of these assholes, I actually discovered this. I did, because I kept on, like, what you're saying has nothing to do with Zionism. They'd be like, no, it has everything to do. Look at the protocols of the elders of Zion. It's like, that's not Zionism, motherfucker. That's a fucking fascist forgery. But, yeah, these are the fucking waters that Jeff the Empanada is swimming in.
I know when it's coming. I load the gun in the back of my head like, oh, it's hilarious. Hate speech is hilarious. And things that Nazis say are hilarious when I say it wokely. Oopsie Juicy, he should just call you a slur. Wait for the hook. Wait for the hook. It's hilarious.
I don't think you should, because I don't think we should be operational.
But I hold it.
Nazi terminology to attack.
I want him to.
I think that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, a valid point. Yeah, maybe don't do Nazi shit. Just maybe don't do Nazi shit. Maybe there isn't a woke way to do Nazi shit.
Unprincipled and shitty, and I think that's.
I mean, and look at this little fucking smirk. This Matt Miller smirk on Clan Empanada's face.
You have the reputation you have.
These are all just like, oh, I think it's weird, shitty.
Well, because it's weird and shitty. A lot of people think it's weird and shitty. People don't like Nazi shit, actually. And people don't like it when you actually sort of smear it all over spaces where people are trying to do something useful, other than like promoting and big noting fucking Clan Empanada.
Okay. Listen, you can do Jewish supremacy right now, okay? And you're splitting hairs because I threw out this funny term.
Splitting hairs. Yeah, you say Nazi, I say Nazi. Let's call the whole thing off.
I don't want to take a moment to point out that Noah Sampson's in the corner here. This is a
he looks like he is watching his chances of winning this lawsuit just burn up. The more fucking Clan Empanada opens his fucking mouth and just says straight up Nazi shit.
Supposed to be a stream to help him build a legal defense against Ethan Klein, who is trying to paint him as an anti-Semite.
I mean, the cause of action of the Klein lawsuit is defamation, which is bullshit, because every single thing that he said is factually accurate or fair comment, and it all is against a public figure. So that public figure's, assuming that he doesn't bankrupt Noah before the case even properly gets started, has to actually prove that it's false. So, I mean, it is a bullshit case, but yeah, anything that can be used to smear Noah by association will be, and what Bad Empanada is doing, like, Ethan Klein, if Ethan Klein isn't paying him for this, Ethan Klein owes him fucking money, because he's doing Ethan a big fucking solid right here.
And I am here having to debate his friend on why using Nazi hate speech casually but wokely is a bad thing. But he thinks it's hilarious. Who cares? This is L Noah for putting himself in this position, but this is L Bad Empanada, who clearly does not give a fuck about Noah.
You're calling me Jewish supremacy, but you're using their terminology the same way they would use it.
They wouldn't call someone a Zog slave.
What would they say?
Negatively. They want to hide that sort of thing. They want to hide this idea that...
Who wants to? I'm actually like confused.
Off as a Jewish supremacist.
What the fuck does that mean?
You're calling people, as you say, Jewish supremacist slurs.
Which is, again, this is LFD signifier for assuming that anything coming out of Jeff the Empanada's mouth is accurate. What he's saying, like, literally none of this is all just Nazi shit. And I think that's where the smirk comes from, because he knows he's kind of got him, because he's actually validating one of Jeff's bullshit points by even accepting this idea that goy slave is actually a Jewish supremacist term, which no, it fucking isn't. It's Nazi shit. It's white supremacism all the way down.
Publicly to malign them.
So Zog slave is not a Jewish supremacist slur.
What was the origin point of the Zog? What are you saying about it?
BRG. It's a guy, BRG.
He called him a Zog.
He's a massive electorate. He's Zionist politician.
I don't think it's really established in American or Western media apparatus that Zog is anything other than the dog whistle that it is. It's,
How do you...
Yeah, like, okay, so Noah recognizes it. Noah knows what's going on here. Noah's clearly... No wonder he's fucking uncomfortable if he, at the very least, does understand what the fuck this is. Because part of the problem here is that Bad Empanada has taken a deserved reputation for knowing what he's talking about some things. And use that in order to convince people that he also knows what he's talking about when he talks about shit he doesn't know anything about and can't be bothered to do his homework on. Again, being just fucking extremely charitable and not saying that he's just a fucking liar. So
to explain to someone that amplifying and normalizing Nazi ideology is bad. Shouldn't everyone be okay with saying, hey, the stuff that the Nazis do to critique Jewish people,
I mean,
is not good, we won't use it. We won't censor that in our analysis.
yeah, because the thing is, the Nazi shit, actually, there's a reason. If you look at who Zionists ally themselves with, they ally themselves with the people who say shit like this. Like, actually, the ADL, after Trump announced a bunch of, Trump announced his first cabinet picks, the ADL, who claimed to be about documenting anti-Semitism and calling it out. That's what they claim to be about. They're really just a pro-Israel propaganda group. But they do, in order to maintain their credibility, occasionally call out anti-Semitism that is actually anti-Semitism. And when Trump named a bunch of his cabinet picks, they took a bunch of people down. When Elon Musk did his Nazi salute, they defended him. And that's not a new thing. Zionists and genocidal anti-Semites have been besties for a long-ass time. Theodor Herzl, who was the first person to adopt Zionist ideology in, like, the Jewish population of Europe. It was invented by white supremacist Protestants. That's always left out by people like this because it's inconvenient. But Herzl said, the anti-Semites will always be our most reliable allies, and the anti-Semitic countries will be our most reliable allies. The reason he was saying that is because anti-Semitic assholes want to not have Jewish neighbors. They want to get rid of Jews, and Zionists offer a place to put them. That has always been the deal, and that has always been the value proposition that the Zionist movement makes to genocidal anti-Semitic fucks. Which is why when they do their annual meeting on anti-Semitism in Israel, the meeting hall is full of Nazis. All they invite is just all the top Nazis in Europe go there. It is that has been a feature of the Zionist movement from the very start. It's why the one Jewish member in the British cabinet, when the Balfour Declaration was issued, Montague, actually wrote a statement condemning the Balfour Declaration, calling it out as anti-Semitic, and pointing out that the whole idea was to claim the Jews were to agree with, anti-Jewish racists. The Jews were actually foreigners in their own lands and had no business being in the places they were from, and that it was also that it was all about having an excuse not to let in Jewish refugees from Central Europe. So when you do this, this is why you actually have to have a more than superficial understanding of your enemy, is what I'm saying. Because a lot of people think that all you need to know about Zionism is where it leads, and you can see where it leads just by looking at all the absolutely fucking harrowing footage of what they're doing in Gaza, what they're doing in Lebanon, all that fucked up horrible shit. I mean, the West Bank, but the trouble with that is that tells you why it needs to be fought. That's not all you need to know. You need to know how to fight it, and if you want to know how to fight it, you've got to know how it works. You've got to know what this ideology is. You've got to know what its relationship is with other movements, how it functions in society. And if you know those things, one thing you know is that anti-Semitism actually is catnip for Zionists. Anti-Semitism helps them because they thrive on manipulating Jewish people's fear of it. They need anti-Semitism. So what he's doing here ought to get him the Israel Prize, Bad Empanada.
By the way, he has done this.
You guys both disagree with the framing that Zionists occupy the government, right? It's imperialism and the other way around.
Oh, thank you, Noah. God, just to hear one piece of serious analysis in this conversation, is nice. It's nice to hear Noah, who has admitted that he slept on Palestine for a while. He just kind of realized when the genocide started showing up in everybody's feeds that he needed to know about it, and he seems to have taken that very, very seriously from the work that he's done on his YouTube channel. To hear him say, yeah, surely we all agree that this is about U.S. imperialism. Thank fuck. Noah, like, I could fucking kiss you just for bringing a little bit of just elementary, intellectual seriousness into this conversation. No shade on FD Signifier, but who has actually made a lot of valid points here, but this is kind of a central one, because the whole idea of all this bullshit about Zog, the whole idea is to exonerate U.S. imperialism, because Nazis don't object to U.S. imperialism. They think the U.S. is doing imperialism badly. They think that the U.S. would be way better at imperialism. U.S. imperialism would be fucking based, absolutely based, if it weren't for the Zionists who are making making U.S. imperialism do bad things. That is the Nazi position. That is why they're obsessed with lobbies and conspiracies and all this stuff, and they do not want to look at the fact that there's nothing fundamentally different that the U.S. does in Palestine to what they do everywhere else. I mean, it's all a quantitative difference. It's a difference of degree. Overzealots? I haven't watched a whole lot of overzealots. I mean, and maybe they are. But I'm just saying, like, the fact that Noah just jumps in there and says, well, surely we can all agree that this whole Zog thing is bullshit, that this is about imperialism. To me, that just shows how, like, serious he was about actually, you know, becoming knowledgeable in a hurry about this before talking about it. Like, I appreciate that. I appreciate people who have a platform, who decide they need to talk about something on that platform, and who realize they don't know enough to talk about it well, and so they delay it and make sure that they know their shit beforehand. I just appreciate that. That should be a given. That was the standard I thought Bad Empanada held himself to when I first found his channel. Like, that's why I liked him. I mean, you could find me saying nice things about him if you, like, go back in my back catalog of streams, if you want to just, if you want to do that to yourself. I think I probably have said more positive things about him than negative on this stream over the years. But that seemed to be where he was coming from. But apparently, by his own admission, he was not getting the kind of views he wanted by doing that. And so he decided to do this edgelord fucking bullshit where he sucks up to Nazis.
It depends. Are there Zionists in the government? Yes, that's Israel.
But Israel doesn't control America.
Why are you worrying about this right now?
Why are you worrying about this right now? Because, like, it's funny to hear that question, because I'm working right now on this article. Sort of a deep dive, long read. I may actually make it into a video and use it as the script for it. I haven't completely decided. That looks at why it is that the U.S. has decided to just to bankroll this entire genocide and never show any sign of giving it a second thought. Because a lot of people, because that has kind of broken a lot of people's brains. It has acted a little bit, I don't know if anyone watched or read The Three-Body Problem, Santi, the Chinese novel and Chinese science fiction show, where these aliens who have the power to manipulate, they're sophisticated enough that they can manipulate highly sophisticated scientific measuring devices. And they use this to create all sorts of fucked up, weird-ass anomalous findings in order to undermine scientific thinking. And I think to some extent, the fact that the U.S. has been on board for so long, well beyond what a lot of people, myself included, thought that they would be willing to tolerate of this, has actually functioned like that and caused people to doubt what is actually, you know, a serious scientific analysis of why the U.S. is doing this. And so my article is about pointing out there is actually an explanation for it. It's because from the U.S. and Israeli perspective, the real victim on October 7th was deterrence. Their deterrence got wrecked, and Israel's deterrence is the U.S.'s deterrence, because Israel uses mostly U.S. weapons. Israel is a weapon that is aimed at the enemies of the United States. So if Israel ends up looking like a bunch of Wallies because their so-called elite Gaza division gets rolled over by the Palestinian resistance in less time than it takes to order a pizza, that makes the U.S. look like a bunch of fucking Wallies. And when Israel's ground forces manage to achieve nothing except having all their tanks, you know, having hundreds of their tanks wrecked and murdering a bunch of little kids and old people and just demolishing buildings for absolutely no good reason, no justifiable pretext, just for the hell of it, then that further undermines U.S. deterrence. And the thing is, the U.S. relies heavily on that. The U.S. needs to be thought of as invincible, because if you're not thought of as invincible, everybody's going to start having a go. And the trouble, the reason this has been so fucking endless, to a certain extent, is that there's not been a single situation, apart from, like, at the very beginning, when the U.S. could have said, it could have, like, credibly declared victory, said, okay, that's enough, we're done, we've made our point. Because every other time, it would have looked like they were begging for a way out. And that is the point I'm going to make in this article. And the reason, and I just got done, the section I was working on today was answering this question, why does it fucking matter? And the reason it matters is because all of your strategic decisions, all of your tactical decisions are going to flow from why you understand the U.S. to be supporting this genocidal regime. If you think it's just like there's the lobby, and the lobby is all powerful, and it is distorting the otherwise benign U.S. imperialism, well, that lends itself to certain strategic and tactical conclusions. It means you gotta focus on the lobby, because the lobby's the problem, right? But if the problem is more fundamental, if the problem is that the U.S. considers, the U.S. ruling class considers this regime's actions to be broadly in their interest, and the continued existence of this regime to be broadly in their interest, and they're right about that, then you can't just convince them that they're wrong. Then you are fighting against U.S. imperialism, and fundamentally your struggle and your conditions of victory are the same as those of everyone who is under the boot of U.S. imperialism worldwide. The fight you have to give is completely different depending on how you are, depending on how you determine what your enemy is and why your enemy is that. Like, this is the fact. This is not something like fucking Bad Empanada. I just know, because I've seen enough of his work to know this. He knows perfectly well why this matters. He is smarter than he's making himself out to be here.
We're talking about the terminology.
Why can't I use hate speech from Nazis?
Well, I don't even think that's what he was saying. I think what he was saying there was actually somehow even worse. Because he was acting like, because what Noah jumped in there and said, and pointed out, surely we all agree this is about imperialism, and we shouldn't, that this Zog thing is a distraction and it's bullshit. And fucking Jeff goes, well, why does it matter? Like, surely he knows why it matters. And what the hell happened to his hair? Like, Did he go to a dog groomer? Like, did he get his hair cut by a weed whacker?
Why are you being mean to me? I just want to act like a Nazi online to start shit with black people so I can get likes and clicks so that they'll come and debate me. By the way, BRG did debate Bad Empanada, which he shouldn't have.
I worry about it because I recognize that when you do shit like that,
It's not in support of Palestinians. It's not even to attack Zionism or to attack Israel.
Yes, yeah, right. None of the, yeah, because it does not attack Zionism. It does not hurt Israel. It does not hurt Zionism, and it doesn't help Palestinians. In fact, if you look at every single fucking resistance faction, all of the Palestinian resistance factions make a point. Like from Hamas to the PFLP, the DFLP, they all make a point of saying, no, this struggle is not about Jews. It is about the people who, the people who are invading and occupying our land. It is about Zionists. It wouldn't matter what religion they were. Like Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, the spiritual leader of Hamas, actually gave an interview where he goes, to the faithful, to his members. Somebody had asked him, and he says, I don't have a problem with Jews. Jews are people of faith. My problem is with the people who are taking my land and killing my people. If my own brother does that, I'd fight him. The Abu Ali Mustafa brigades, the paramilitary wing of the PFLP, they got a song where the refrain is, "This isn't about the Jews, we're fighting Zionism." Yeah, which is all about the fact that because Israel always cloaks itself in, doing this in the name of the Jews and, completely identifying itself totally with, the Jewish population as a whole, right down to the national symbols that they've appropriated. Palestinians often colloquially just refer to them as Al-Yahud, because Israel does not make the distinction between Jews and Zionists, so they don't make that distinction. And so resistance groups who are trying to bring a certain level of strategic consciousness into the discussion want to make that distinction clear, because it benefits Israel to make this about the Jews. Israel wins every time somebody makes it about the Jews. And I don't buy that fucking Jeff Empanada doesn't know that.
Is to bring attention to your channel and your content. So
that's just speculation on motivations.
I mean, yeah, it is speculation. It's pretty reasonable speculation on his motivations. I mean, I think there is definitely opportunism, but I also think he genuinely believes this. Because he had enough of a following if he had decided to just, bring the level of intellectual seriousness he's capable of. This is what's so fucking sad to me about Bad Empanada. Because I know he's capable of better than this. I've seen it. And we need that. We need what he was doing a few years ago. We need a lot of what he was doing a few years ago, apart from everything else, because it meant I didn't have to be the one to, find the energy and time to make videos to that standard on the subjects, because he did a lot of videos on subjects I felt like I needed to make videos because I didn't see them, and so it's fucking disappointing. But he could have done that, and I think he would have done fine. I think he would have done quite well, because the thing is, he could just bring that level of snark to it that he has, and maintain the intellectual rigor that he is indeed capable of, and it would have been a good thing. But instead, he's decided he wants to be on his bullshit. He wants to be an edgelord. He doesn't want to do his homework. And so he's doing this anti-Semitic shit. And he should know better sitting where he is in Argentina as well. Because here's the thing. Argentina is home to the actual biggest mass murder of Jews since the Nazi Holocaust. The Videla dictatorship was extremely anti-Semitic, and they murdered like 3,000 Jews. A huge number were disappeared as well. They invented their very own special anti-Semitic conspiracy theory for the occasion. It still goes around. It's called Plan Andinia. And here's the thing. And here's what surely he should know, living in Argentina as he does. And Israel helped arm the anti-Semitic generals of the last dictatorship in Argentina. And those are people who are hailed as heroes by the current Argentine government. That is how you can tell that there is actually a difference between Zionism and the Jews, and between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. That is right there. That's like in one fucking panel. One picture, you got the whole thing. Because the Videla dictatorship, the junta militar de gobierno of, the late 70s, early 80s in Argentina, big Zionists, hated Jews, loved Israel, hated Jews. And Israel actually turned away a lot of Argentine Jewish refugees. Because Zionism's anti-Semitic too. Like, he has absolutely no fucking excuse living where he does to be as ignorant as he pretends to be, is what I'm saying. I will have to check out Overzealots. Thank you for the recommendation, Old Owl Hooten. It is time for me to wrap up. Thank you to everyone for joining in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And I will be back tomorrow at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, and I look forward to seeing you then. So, have a good night. Implicit connotations. Have a good night.